Hi Claire, welcome to From the Stage Door.
Hi Rachel, lovely to see you again.
Yes, you too. First question we're going to kick off with is, have you always had a passion for theatre and performance?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I don't remember a time when I ever thought, what do I want to do when I grow up? I know I'll be an actor. It was never quite like that. I think it's just sort of always been there, really. I've just always done it and never really wanted to do anything else. So yeah, persistent.
Yeah.
Persistent is what I am, yeah.
And what was your first ever professional theatre job?
My first professional job, I did a couple of things at drama school where I did sort of idents for television and that sort of stuff. But my first real job was, I was actually cast as Jane Eyre at the Palace Theatre in Redditch. And when I auditioned, it was actually where we rehearsed our drama school showcase. So we were rehearsing and the director there said, I'm auditioning for this production, would you come in? And he saw me and another girl for the part. She was much younger than me. And he also wanted, as well as Jane Eyre, he wanted someone to play Nora Morton in Brighton Beach Memoirs, who was 16. I thought, oh, okay, I'm not 16. Yeah, he was lovely and he auditioned us both and he gave me the part, which I was really surprised at. And he was impressed that I could play down, which I suppose was a compliment, which is very nice. So he cast me as 16-year-old Nora Morton, which was my first actual play, and then Jane Eyre followed that. So yeah, and then I stayed on. Fortunately for me, a couple of days before I finished the contract, the girl they'd cast as Snow White in their panto had to drop out for some reason. So he asked me to stay on and do that, which was lovely. And then I had a spring season with them as well. So I was there for, a good sort of 6 months really, which is lovely.
Nice, yeah. So who would you say was your greatest influence growing up?
Oh, professionally?
Professionally or private life either.
Private life. I was always quite quiet growing up, and as a teenager and at school and stuff. I didn't have great influences other than at home, really. My parents, I suppose. My dad was a real grafter. My dad still would be if he was allowed to be, if he didn't accept how old he was. But he was always working long hours, and I think that was quite ingrained in me quite early on, that you work hard if you want stuff, if you want to do stuff. And I actually, it was my dad that would sit up until the early hours of the morning making dance costumes for my sister and I when we were doing dance festivals and things, and he'd be sat there at his sewing machine in the early hours. So he was really artistic, really creative, and if you needed anything, it didn't matter if it was woodwork or painting or he was really artistic. So I suppose that side of my character comes from him. My mom was and still is a huge fan of the MGM musicals, the Doris Day and Howard Keel and all of that era, and I grew up watching those. And it was a long time actually before I really accepted, in fact I haven't really accepted that I wasn't born in that era. I still think Howard Keel's going to walk in the door at some point, and that's the kind of film I'm going to make one day, which is but yeah, that was where I really sort of developed a love of acting and singing. So yeah, my parents, I guess.
Cool.
But professionally, who am I influenced by? It was those musical theatre actors of those 1950s, 40s, 50s films really that drew me in. Howard Keel was always my hero, absolute hero. In fact, I remember my parents went to see him when he was much older in Birmingham, in fact, in May. They went to see him in concert, and I was gutted they didn't take me. But Judy Dench, obviously, like every actress that's ever lived, once I started to notice theatre, she's just captivating. And anyone of that sort of standing who has worked so beautifully and so well in all genres, and for so long. I mean, that's kind of something you aspire to, isn't it? Just to be able to keep going for that period of time and still have that amazing ability to captivate an audience is lovely. So yeah.
Cool. And what would you say is the best advice that you've ever received?
Best advice. I think don't give up is a bit of a predictable thing to say. It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
And it's hard when you, especially if you audition for something, if you get that call and you have an audition and it's something you really set your heart on and you don't get it.
Yeah.
Which obviously has never happened to me. But when that happens, it's really hard to kind of keep believing in yourself, really. I can do, and especially for me as I get older, you know, and having had this lockdown for so long, and you kind of think, well, can I still do it? Am I any good at it?
Yeah.
And it's hard to do that, but I think you have to have that kind of perseverance, and I think self-belief without arrogance, because we all see it in people who are very full of themselves, and you think, oh, I don't like you, and I never want to be like that. I don't want people to not like me because I'm great, but I still want to have the feeling for myself of thinking I can do this. So I think that's quite a balance.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And what would you say is your favourite theatre to perform in?
That's tricky. That is tricky. I've been lucky in that I've toured a few times, so I've done a lot of theatres, and they all have a feeling. I've always loved that feeling of walking on the stage at the end of a show when the audience is gone, when there's no one else in the theatre. You know, you've got your coat and your bag, and you're on your way to the stage door, and you think, I'm just gonna have one more look at the set, and you just stand there, and that feeling is so lovely. And I think you can get that in any theatre, whether it's a modern, you know, stone block or a beautiful traditional theatre with plaster carvings and the big red drapes. You know, I'll always have a soft spot for the Palace because it was my first job. I was touring in Barnum and we played the Royal Shakespeare Theatre, and so that's got to be up there because it's the Royal Shakespeare Theatre. So you know, it's lovely. It's just so nice to be in that building and to think, you know, this is a place. So yeah, but I'm sure I'm forgetting lots. I'm sure there's lots of little theatres. I remember vividly the Apollo in having said I remember it vividly, is it the Apollo the Apollo in Oxford? Because that was the first time I was understudying Charity Barnum on tour, and it was where I went on as Charity Barnum. Sorry, my dog's growling in the background.
All right.
Sorry, I think it's because you're not asking her any questions.
Okay.
So I remember that theatre very, very well, but I can't picture it. I haven't been in there since, and it's a good few years ago, so I can't picture the inside, but in my memory that's a special place.
Yeah. Cool. So when you're performing, do you get nerves, and if so, how do you deal with them?
I don't very well. terribly nervous, and that's got worse as I've got older as well. I think it's good. You know, people say nerves are good. They are. They do keep you on your toes. I can remember doing a show where I felt incredibly confident. I think it was the second half, and I thought I'm in my stride now. And I walked on stage, no nerves whatsoever. And I started with this song, and I came straight in with the second verse. I thought, that's not right for a start. And I always think, oh God, it's because I wasn't nervous. I wasn't, you know, on edge enough, which is probably rubbish. I was probably just getting it wrong. So I think nerves are good, but obviously you've got to be able to control them. If they take control of you, then it's fatal. So but yeah, I haven't discovered how to really control them yet. Lots of deep breathing, lots of deep breathing, and that, you know, that's a cliche, but it does help.
Yeah.
It does help.
Yeah.
I used to do Tai Chi. I did Tai Chi for many years, and I used to find if I did just some grounding breaths with the rising and the sinking, that used to kind of calm me down a little bit as well. So yeah. We'll see. I'll let you know if I can get a job again, if it still works.
So what would you say has been your most challenging role to date?
I played Lady Macbeth.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I've done that twice, and the first time I did it, it would be the most challenging show I did, because it was I was so delighted to have this part, and I was touring for Heartbreak Theatre, so I was outdoors, and it was a wonderful production. I loved every minute of it, but as well as Lady Macbeth, I was also playing all three witches.
Okay.
Yeah, as a three-headed person.
Right. Okay.
Peter Mimak, who was directing, had cast me as all three. So I'd had this sort of brown draping costume with a mask on my face, another one on my shoulder, and one on my hand, and I had to kind of move as all three. So that was really, I found that really difficult, actually.
Yeah.
I've always thought of myself as being quite good at movement. I wasn't. That was quite hard to get, and to find three characters. When my mind was really on Lady Macbeth. I wanted, do out damn spot, but not as a cliche, not as everyone else had done it, and I wanted to focus on that. So that was quite a hard production. I also did Sheila in Day and the Death of Joe Egg. Who's the mother of a girl with various difficulties, mental and physical difficulties, and I didn't have children then, and so that was quite hard to kind of, I think when you have to draw on your own experiences for a part, you can do that to a degree, but when you have something that's quite alien to you, that was hard. And I loved doing that. It'd be interesting to see if I could do it again now I've got children, without crying too much on stage. I try it though.
So have you ever had any on-stage disasters?
Oh, hundreds, I imagine. Yeah. I remember, not long after I left school, I did a couple of shows at school, and the second one I did was My Fair Lady. I played Eliza in My Fair Lady, and my teacher, Charlie Kings, who had said to me, we're doing it in our local amateur operatics group, Southport Operatics, and I'm not sure if they've got anyone for part of Eliza. Why don't you come along and join? Come and give it a go, give it an audition. And I did. I auditioned and got that, and that was lovely. But I then stayed with that group for years. It's where I met my husband, and loved it. But I can remember doing I did Kismet for them when I was probably about 18 or 19. And my sister was in it as well, and she and I and another young girl were playing the three princesses of Ababoo. And the costumes, I don't know if you've ever been involved in amateur dramatics, in the way the costumes that you hire in are sometimes a bit worn. Yes. And I had it was like a fur bikini almost, with sort of a belt and these sort of tail things hanging off. It was very bizarre. Well, they were held together with safety pins. So mid-dance, when I was lifted up onto this guy's shoulder, I felt this pin go, and the skirt landed in my hand, and I threw it off stage, and adrenaline kept going, so that was pretty interesting. I can remember I fell over on stage at the Alex, taking the curtain calls, taking the bows, did my big da-da straight into the footlights. And I had a friend in the audience who said I bounced, basically. She said, you hardly hit the floor and you were up again. And someone told me that if you fall over on stage, that means you will return to that theatre. Okay. It is the tradition, apparently. I've never been back, so I'm still waiting. But yeah, there's a few of many.
Yeah. And so what would you say is the funniest thing that's happened on stage?
It's usually when things happen that the cast realise something's going on.
Yeah.
And you kind of make eye contact with someone and you think, I can't laugh because they don't know what's going on. So that's, yeah, I can't think of any funny experiences. There must be. Yeah, I'm sure there are millions, but I say most of them tend to be in cast.
Yeah.
Jokes. Yeah, I can't think of anything particularly. I'm very dull.
Yeah, like you say though, it is always, you get that eye contact and it's like, yeah, I really can't, this is hilarious, but I can't let on exactly how funny this is because nobody else will get it.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever completely lost it on stage. I've seen friends in productions where they've gone and you think, how do you deal with that? What do you do? You just have to keep going. I suppose usually, as long as it's not crushing the performance, the audience are on your side, I suppose. Yeah. And they realise, that you're human and this stuff happens. So, yeah.
So from the projects that you've done, have you ever kept any props or costumes to take home with you?
Might have. Yeah, I have. Not anything major. I've never sort of hidden anything under my coat and run off with it or anything like that. But I have got stuff. I'm sure I have. Certainly bits of costume and things. I remember at the end of the tour of Barnum being given my jazz shoes. We told we could keep our jazz shoes and stuff like that. And things that no one else would want to wear. But I can't think of it off the top of my head. I have got props. I have got one prop. I don't think I can tell you what it is, just in case anybody does get into trouble for it. It's not a big thing. There was a scene I did in a production where there were several of these particular things. Okay. All identical, lots of them, and they were all used. And when I finished the production, one of the other guys in the cast knew that I was fond of this particular part, this particular scene, and he gave me one of these things to take and said, "Here, you take that with you." And so it would never have been missed. It wasn't anything like that. But yeah, I won't say what it was, just in case I get into trouble.
It's like a whole piece of set just in the corner of your lounge,
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to your younger self?
I would say, other than don't give up, I would say sort of realise how quick the passage of time is. I never sort of coasted early on, but I think I was lucky early on when I started acting, and things just kind of fell into place quite well. So I didn't take it for granted. I think I was just very naive, and I thought that's how it went. I knew it was a really competitive industry. I knew there was always someone to step into your place if you messed up, that kind of thing. So I knew you had to fight for parts and all of that, but I just think I was a bit lucky early on. And because of that, I wouldn't say I didn't push myself. I mean, gosh, I left drama school and I was one of those people who, wrote out dozens and dozens of letters every week, because it was letters, obviously, then not email. I spent so long sort of printing out my photos and my CVs and hours and hours and hours every week. So I did work at it. I mean, when I went to drama school, I just met who's now my husband, my boyfriend I just moved in with. And so I didn't want to move away. So I thought, well, I'll go to Birmingham because that's good and close. So I applied to Birmingham and I got in and I went. And I didn't realise until we were sat in, I think it was a singing class, we were sat in one day in the school, and all the students were talking about having auditioned and done the circuit of drama schools, and they'd auditioned for 3 years before they got a place and things like that. And I felt, it suddenly hit me how lucky I had been. It didn't occur to me. It wasn't arrogance. It was pure naivety. I thought, well, I'll go to Birmingham. That's good and close. Write the letter, application in, auditioned, got in, went. And I just hadn't realised how that wasn't normally how it went. So I was really fortunate. And I went straight into work in rep in Redditch, and then I kind of went from one job to another for a while. So it's only now when I am older and I think, the parts that I would love to have played that I've missed now. I'm too old. So perhaps try and cram in more earlier. But I got married, I had children, I've had life as well.
Yeah.
So I'm not complaining about it. I wouldn't change what I have. So that's, but perhaps be aware of time, Claire.
So what would be your dream role or show to be in?
Well, talking when I was younger, I always wanted to play Eponine in Les Miserables. That was my sort of favourite musical role. Yeah. And I had a couple of auditions for it. I'd had recourse for it and didn't get it, and it just never happened. So that's probably the one that got away. But I really, really want to play Beatrice in Much Ado About Nothing. That's my dream job at the moment. And having seen that Vanessa Redgrave's not long ago done it, I'm still in with a chance. I'm not too old for that one yet. And I was going to do it in October. We were up and running and raring to go in October, and obviously, like all the other theatre, it got cancelled. So I'm hoping that comes back, because that's one I'm still hankering for a little bit. Yeah, there's so many. When it comes to Shakespeare, there's so many. There's so many parts. Yeah.
Fingers crossed for that one then.
But I want to work, really.
Just anything at the moment.
I don't want to spend the rest of my life in the back row of the ensemble, but if that's what it takes. I'd like to be on stage or screen or whatever. So
cool. And who would you most like to work with in the industry that you haven't so far?
Dame Judy, obviously. I always wanted to work with Anthony Hopkins. I think he's amazing. Yeah. It's kind of separating the ones that you kind of that are absolute heartthrobs that you think I just want to be in the same room as, to the ones that are actually just really good at what they do. Yeah. Who else would I like to work with? Julie Walters is lovely. Yeah. And sort of watching people like that who've had that career where you, again, as I said earlier about the versatility and stuff, the lovely things to have done. Who else? I don't know. Anyone will have me, really. Yeah. Everybody. I want to work with everyone.
So what would you say has been your most surreal or pinch me moment?
Probably going on as Charity Barnum that first time in Oxford. But not the actual performance. I was actually very ill. I'd gone off the night before. I'd got a stomach bug and a chest infection at the same time, and I was really poorly. Yeah. And I was really, really not very well. But I can remember doing the show and at the end taking my bow. Yeah. And the lady I was understudying, she used to come down. Obviously, she was that penultimate bow before Barnum himself, and she would walk down the stage and just take a curtsy, and she was the sedate, poise one, and I ran onto that stage for my bow. I belted down the middle, and I can still see the rest of the company in the wings, lined up in the wings, clapping because they knew how ill I was. Yeah. And clapping for me, and it was and I can feel it now. That's the most lovely thing. It's that kind of camaraderie and that support of your peers is I won't say more, maybe it is more important than the support of the audience, I don't know, but it was certainly just meant everything. That moment will stay with me forever.
Yeah.
So that was quite surreal, as in, am I really here?
Yeah.
And I played Juliet, and opposite a lovely man, John Foxall, who's no longer with us. He was playing Capulet, playing my dad, and the scene where he's really telling her off. I was on my knees in floods of tears, and he stood over me and he dried, but he kept going. And he regaled this beautiful, amazing speech that he was completely making up, but totally in blank verse all the way through. And I remember thinking, how is he doing that? How is he ad-libbing in blank verse?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a bit surreal.
That is a skill.
Yeah,
definitely a skill.
I'd like to say it's one I've got. I'd probably be lying. I'd totally be lying.
Cool. Okay, so you're having a dinner party. Ultimate 3 dinner guests, dead or alive.
Oh gosh. I should have thought of this. David Attenborough.
Okay.
Absolute hero, David Attenborough.
Yeah.
Maybe Julie Walters.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, Julie Walters. Or Doris Day. Julie Walters or Doris Day. Let's go Julie Walters.
Yeah.
And David Bowie.
Nice.
We'll get David to sing. Julie can be funny, and David Attenborough will be everything else.
That's true. Yeah, definitely. Brilliant. Okay, quick fire round to finish off.
Okay.
Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Sun or rain?
Oh, sun, rain, sun.
Okay. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Sweet or savoury?
Savoury.
Comedy or tragedy?
Oh, we all love a good cry. Comedy.
Musical or play?
Musical.
Meat or veg?
Veg. Surprise myself.
Hugs or kisses?
Hugs.
Night out or night in?
Oh, do you know, despite everything we've been through, I'm tempted to say night in.
I know, it's too scary to go out there now. Tour or West End run?
I've never done West End, but I like touring tour.
Tour, okay. Favourite film?
Casablanca.
Nice. Favourite book?
The Great Gatsby.
Good choice. And last one, ultimate comfort food?
Bacon sandwich. But okay. It has to be made by my husband.
Okay.
Oh, a Sunday dinner. I know, it's a bacon sandwich.
Okay.
Sunday food. Sunday food. Bacon sandwich, breakfast, and Sunday roast.
Okay. We can go with that.
So indecisive, I know.
Why not? Claire, it's been lovely talking to you, catching up.
You too. Thank you so much for asking me, Rachel.
You're welcome, and hopefully see each other in a theatre soon.
Yes, please. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.